Dig with everyone, welcome back to my not so messy sitting room. My name is Diesel and you are, as always, most welcome. You guys, I'm really far behind on the reviewing. There has been a lot of reading, very little reviewing. So anything that doesn't make a video can be found on my blog. I just did Victoria Aveyard's The Red Queen. The link to that is below. Other than that, today we are going to do Atlantia by Condie. If the name Condie sounds familiar to you, that is because she wrote the Matched series. So what's it all about? Well, I have tried 5 times to tell you what it's all about, so I've just come to the conclusion that I will read you what the book says. It says, for as long as she can remember, Rio has dreamt of the sand and sky above, a life beyond her underwater city of Atlantia. But in a single moment, all of her plans for the future are thwarted when her twin sister Bay makes an unexpected decision, stranding Rio below. Alone, ripped away from the last person who knew Rio's true self, and the powerful siren voice she has long hidden, she has nothing left to lose. Guided by a dangerous and unlikely mentor, Rio formulates a plan that leads to an increasingly treacherous question about her mother's death, her own destiny, and the complex system constructed to govern the divide between land and sea. Her life and city depend on Rio to listen to the voices of the past and speak long-hidden truths. Ooh, mystical. Forgive me for looking so washed out. I think it's because there's a lot of black and a lot of light, but however. I've tried numerous times to tell you my thoughts on this book, and every time I do, I feel like a rambly asshole. Because if you've been with me for a while, you will know that I find it hard to give bad reviews. But I really didn't like this book. There was literally nothing about it that I liked. Not the writing style, not the plot, and not the characters. Let me see if I can elaborate without feeling like a bitch. Okay, for some reason the washed outness has now fixed itself. Okay. The first thing that I didn't like about this book was the writing style. I have read Condie's work before. Like I said, she wrote the Match series, so I know what she is capable of, and this was absolutely nothing near what she's capable of. To be honest, this book felt like it was written by a fresh writer. So not a writer that hadn't been published yet, or, you know, a writer that was still working on their debut. It literally felt like a writer who had never sat down to write before, and this was their first attempt at doing anything. It was immensely unprofessional and had like the use of italics throughout it to emphasize things. Maybe it's just me, because I know I've had an issue with that before in other books, but it drove me up the wall. There are some absolutely insanely ludicrous lines in it. Things that are just like, did you really just say that? For example, one of the characters' name is True, and in the middle of the book, Rio says True, and it is followed by a line that says, I was both saying his name and implying that it was the truth, a line like that. And if you read it in the context of what's happening, it is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Like, ever. Also, writing style and plotline. Things that happened in this book, to me, seemed like they happened out of convenience rather than they were planned to happen, or it was like an actual physical thought that the author thought, yeah, this is what's gonna be going on. Like, an example, no spoilers, one of the characters has this power, and we know about this power, and we're like, okay, cool. And then later on, when it's convenient, they're like, oh, by the way, I know I've never told you this before, but I can actually do this too. Right in the moment when they totally need that to happen. And it's just like, it's a thing to do with telling when people are lying, and it's just ridiculous, like utter ridiculousness. Big things that are important, especially like the sirens, are not explained properly in any way. The whole Rio has 2 voices things went over my head completely, like 90% of the time, and it was really hard, due to writing style, to imagine what the heck was happening. There's a lot of talk of like gods and miracles, and like mystical powers and things, and none of it is explained in any way. Like, it just, there's no substance behind any of it. The love story in it melted my brain. I have no problem with characters falling in insta love. That never bothered me. Books are not very long and you need time for these things to happen. But there was literally no divide between when these people were like, yeah, that's a person that I see, to I'm so madly in love with this person. Like, there is no divide. And the moodiness of the guy was so typical YA boy that it made my heart hurt just a little bit. The plotline was confusing. Half the time I didn't know what the plotline was meant to be about. The powers in it are badly explained, and the writing style is so below par of what I know that this author can do that it was just also disappointing. To be honest, I really didn't want to read it, and I complained to the people in my life. I was like, I'm reading this book and I'm hating every minute of it. And they were all like, why don't you just not read it then? And I was like, well, I paid for it, so I'm going to read it. And I had high hopes because I liked Matched. I didn't finish the series, but the ones that I did read were decent. And I thought this could be amazing, and I liked the idea behind it, but it just didn't meet expectation at all. Even the lowest of expectations, it wouldn't have met. I know that sounds awful, but that is how I felt. And I always said in all of the times that anyone asked me that if I was reviewing a book, whether I had paid for it or it was given to me, that I would review exactly what I thought about it. And you guys would always know the truth of what I felt, right down to whether I loved it or I hated it. I'm not going to lie to you for any reason, so that is why I'm telling you I really dislike this book, and I would not recommend it to you in any way, and I certainly won't be continuing on with the series. But other than that, if you read it, let me know, and if you enjoyed it or you didn't enjoy it, or any of your thoughts are the same or different to mine, I would love to hear what you have to say. Other than that, that is all I am going to bore you with. And until next time, slán, agus go raibh maith agat for coming. Yeah. Ugh, now I feel like an a-hole. I'm fine with it.